Hello everybody, my name is Northy and I'm here for the final team coach review for season 2021. Round 23 has finally finished up with a crazy round. It was awesome. So many cool storylines heading into it. Loads of teams that are on the brink and loads of teams looking to break the ceiling. As we all know, teams like Richmond did not even make it this season, which is crazy. Fremantle had a chance to stop Essendon, but even at that point, they couldn't do it. Essendon won anyways, which gave them their 8th position. A chance to finally break the spell of winless seasons, and they have to beat the Dogs to do it. I've talked to a lot of Essendon fans, and they're confident they can do it. They're very confident. And I think this is a season that no one really expected from the Bombers, so seeing them in the finals is I think, already a successful season for them, especially for how long they've been waiting for them to win a final. I wouldn't mind seeing Essendon topping the Dogs. However, the Dogs should be hungry. They should be hungry. However, that is just 5 and 8. That is just the cream. That is just the tip of this awesome cake that we are getting into. That is the finals, with 6 and 7 being GWS and Sydney. That's going to be so good to watch. And then we've got, of course, 1 versus 4 is going to be Melbourne after that, after the siren goal from Max Gawn. Incredible. It's going to be Melbourne versus Brisbane. The double chance spot going to Brisbane eventually after Dogs slipped out, which I did not expect. I did not think the Dogs were going to slip out of the top 4. I'm surprised. I don't know how Port Adelaide got to number 2. They were struggling early on in the season to beat a top 4 team. So it's going to be interesting to see how this finals goes for them. But Port Adelaide did what they needed to do and got themselves to a 2nd position with Geelong in 3rd. So lots to be excited about this final series. But we are here to review how the weekend went in terms of team coach games. You can see here, this was my team coach squad. The most disappointing thing about Star Powers this week was probably the change. Clayton Oliver went off and had a crazy game. Obviously, he wouldn't have been the only thing getting us over the top. Even that wouldn't have gotten us a top 20 spot. Brodie Grundy had a pretty average game. You can see here 57 points. Collingwood unfortunately didn't have the type of game they were looking for, and it was quite disappointing to see. So Brodie Grundy, unfortunately, nothing there. However, we do have these guys. Hugh McCluggage, he was pretty bang average as well. And then again, not really anyone here had an amazing game. But we go over to Rising. Thankfully, Taron Thomas was a smart pickup. Loads of disposals, marks, and kicked a goal for himself as well. I'd imagine a fair few tackles too. I think he had 7, if I'm correct. He was pretty far up there. But Josh Kennedy did not play. Because, of course, over these last couple of weeks, I just keep managing to pick up players who do not play. Last week was Riley O'Brien. This week is Josh Kennedy. It was disappointing to see that. Would have been nice to put some points on the board, even with David Mundy out there, but I did not notice that Josh Kennedy was out. So, a super disappointing week. Got us ranked 568. But what matters is that we have gotten a top 100 spot for the season there. Over 10,000 points, which is good in itself. You can see here, about 10,000 points is the mark to make it into the top 100. And since we've done that, we've seen the rewards from it. So, yeah, 77 is not terrible. But I would have liked to see that one get into the top 50 over the year, but unfortunately just didn't happen. This was where it went really poorly. Tom Mitchell, he looked really dangerous. He still had a 105-point game, but you can see here Jack Steele, who we usually have, he played better. So it was a poor choice. I did try and mix it up so I could try and do something crazy with it, but yeah, Callum Mills had a really below-average game, like a really, really below-average game. Same goes with Grundy, probably one of his worst games of the season compared to many other players. But yeah, we go to Bontempelli, and same goes with him, man. 64 points, only 15 disposals. I would not be surprised if somehow Bontempelli lost this Brownlow. I am not going to be surprised at all, I don't think, because Bontempelli has too many players on his team that could tip over the edge. A lot of people have said he's the favourite this season, but I don't think Bontempelli's got it. I think either one of the Melbourne boys, Oliver or Petrarca, or Jack Steele. I think one of those, I think it's either a Melbourne midfielder, one of the two, or it's going to be Jack Steele. Obviously, Bontempelli will still rack up a ton of votes from the early rounds, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of those boys seemed to top him towards the end of the season, as there's been some really, really good performances from the Melbourne crew. Obviously, having 7 All-Australians, 7, that is ridiculous. That's going to obviously do really, really well for you, but 7 All-Australians in the one team, just crazy stuff. I'm surprised Salem made it. Christian Salem got in. That's honestly a surprise. I definitely thought there'd be some other players who'd make it over the top of him, but maybe it's just because they performed really, really well. But we look at the top 4. We almost dropped out of the top 100, which would have been devastating. We dropped 4 spots, but you can see here we had rank 1,152 with only 295 game points. This was by far one of the harder weeks to make it into the top 10 for the top 4 side of things. But yeah, not even making the top 1,000 is obviously a very poor result. Not even 300 points. Pretty disappointing, but we go to top 18 here. This one, a bit more disappointing as well. We didn't crack the top 100 like we would have liked to. A pretty average, game, 1,416 points. Zeeble didn't even play, which was quite disappointing to see. McRae ended up having a really good game, but we switched him out because we wanted to try something new. So if we look through here, you can see McRae on 100, and then we go down to Josh Kelly. He only had 76, so yeah, not the greatest change, but he was looking good, and I thought maybe he'd have a great game. Unfortunately, that was just not the case. We look at people like Jake Stringer, though. He did pretty well for us. DeGoey, Wingard. I was really happy with how Wingard went. It was a really, really good last-minute change. Then we got players like Dangerfield. I think he played all right. He did pretty average for what he's used to. Kicked a goal, got some marks. He literally bang on for the disposals. Like I said, Bontempelli has really been lacking as of late, and that's why he's probably performed as one of the poorest players for the back end of the season. I do not think he will win Brownlow. A lot of people are saying he will, but I think just because of all the talent alongside him, the fact that McRae's played so well, Bruce will definitely take some for that 10-goal performance against North Melbourne. There's gonna be some interesting results here for this Brownlow. It's really up in the air. Last year I was pretty confident Lockie Neal was gonna win it, and he did. But this year, so many people are confident with Bontempelli. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to go to Steele or one of the Melbourne midfielders. It's going to be one of the two. But we go to the back line. Jake Lloyd, who I thought was going to make the All-Australian team. Jake Lloyd did not make the All-Australian team. That was madness to me. I couldn't believe it. He's been having an awesome season and led Sydney, obviously, to a good score. Obviously, Christian Salem did really, really well, and he was part of an awesome defense for Melbourne. But, really? Jake Lloyd didn't make it? He's been having some amazing performances. He's done huge things. So, just honestly, a little bit disappointing in my head. I think Jake Lloyd got really, screwed over in that sense. But congratulations to Salem. He's definitely a well-deserving player. Nothing against him. I just thought Lloyd at least deserved a spot. Very interesting indeed, but at the end of the day, it is just a game of football, and obviously, Sydney would be much happier if they managed to go ahead and take a win coming into this final series. I think they definitely have premiership intentions. I think a lot of people realise that these guys were for real. These guys can hang with the best. They just haven't been performing as the best for too long. And there's just so many good teams this season, man. The top 4, there wasn't enough space for the top 4. I really do think. I think the Dogs deserve to be in that top 4 conversation and in that top 4 spot. But yeah, their back end really screwed them over. Brisbane was looking super sketchy, really, really sketchy at some points in this season. But they managed to hold on tight, and at the last second, just jubilation, making it into the top 4, which is going to be a huge relief for them. Let's hope, though, that isn't where they kind of, drop off and go, all right, we made it top 4. Oh, this has been tiring. But yeah, back wasn't crazy. Whitfield has been performing quite poorly as of late, but that was also a backman who didn't make it. As you can see, I would show you the All-Australian team, but I do want to kind of leave it for another video. But Lockie Whitfield did not make the All-Australian team, which is quite surprising. Chris had a poor game as well, but you know, it happens to all of us, especially considering Collingwood had a very, very disappointing last game. A lot of Collingwood players did not play as well as they would have liked to, but this was the top 18. This was the result. It was alright with a rank 77 for the season here as well. Was that the same for our star powers? I can't remember. Yeah, we got the same for star powers and top 18. We've cemented that top 7, that 77 spot. That is our spot, no one else's. But yeah, not bad at all. Then we go over to these ones. You can see here only 5 out of 9 for the tips. I really wanted North to win, but unfortunately went out with a little bit of a whimper. Port Adelaide, that ended up being a great choice. I thought Port may be able to do it after the Dogs' poor performance, and they did, beat it by 2. Crazy game there. Obviously, everyone will probably get this one wrong. No one really expected a draw, I'd imagine. So that one ended up going to no one. We've got Sydney versus Gold Coast. Pretty predictable score. Really disappointing performance from Fremantle. I thought with their season on the line, they'd maybe be able to pull up a bit more of a performance. However, without Nat Fyfe and a lot of injuries kind of ruining them, it's honestly a shame how Fremantle kind of went out like that. Geelong versus Melbourne. Very surprised that Melbourne ended up coming back after Geelong was up by like 40 in the second half. They looked like they were ready to run away with it, but Melbourne, like, congrats to them. That was a huge game for them. That was awesome. Melbourne getting minor premiers literally in one kick by Mac Thorne. It was great to watch. Brisbane beating West Coast. This was an awesome game too. Just loads of amazing storylines here. Essendon going and just handing Collingwood one of their worst losses, I think, in history, because it kind of summed up their season. Second last. I don't think many people predicted Collingwood to be second to last. Really crazy stuff. But GWS and Carlton, GWS taking that one. As I predicted, I think they're starting to get a bit more, you know, consistency on their side. Because they've always been that team where if they play bad, they play real bad. But if they play amazing, they look like the best team in the comp. But they're starting to get some consistency now. Obviously, only a 14-point win against a team that's not making the finals. It's an interesting result, but I think they're finally getting that consistency they're looking for. Hopefully in time for the finals. Now they're up against Sydney. It's going to be a tough one. Sydney after a big win. Obviously, it is against Gold Coast, but it's a big win nonetheless. They're going to be feeling pretty good. So, interesting way to finish off the season. Very entertaining, but this is the end. This is the actual end of the Team Coach series. I guess the Team Coach review and preview series. I'm not going to be doing Team Coach, obviously, because Team Coach won't be running in the finals for obvious reasons, as players, not everyone will have the players to be able to run in the finals. Not everyone will have, you know, the top teams, the 8 top teams in the finals, and it'll be a little bit unfair. A lot of people have very similar scores. It won't be fair to, you know, do all that kind of stuff. But I'm hoping you guys enjoyed this series. I said it in the second last one. I said it in the preview. This has been an awesome series to create. This has been something that I'm glad has been able to go throughout the entire year. Has dropped off a bit towards the end, but there were times where this series really picked up. When we won our prize card, that was an awesome highlight. So many close scores, just amazing stuff all around. It's been a lot of fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed the series just as much as I do, and hopefully in 2022 this will be popping off just as much as well. I know that everyone is waiting now, because now that we've got no packs, now that we've got nothing we can really do to get consistently good pack openings or stuff like that, it's very tough, but I'm going to try my best to keep you guys entertained as long as I can. But I'll end it right there. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you do enjoy it, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video, whenever that may be. See you guys.